Hello everyone, we're here at the United Nations, Nairobi, convened for the Youth and the Blue Economy Conference to discuss on youth and unemployment. I'm James Obuba, a research associate at ADRES Group. I'm joined here by Mr. Raphael Obonyo, a strategic advisor with the United Nations and the World Bank. Welcome, Mr. Raphael.
Thank you so very much. Youth unemployment is the single most serious challenge that we have in Kenya, but also in the continent, in Africa.
Right.
And many young people are graduating, are leaving institutions of learning, hoping to get jobs, but they get out of school and they're not able to get jobs. If you look at Kenya, 70% of jobless people are actually young people, the youth. In Africa, 60% of jobless people are actually youth. But the problem is not just unemployment. The problem is that now we have a unique kind of unemployment. We have educated but jobless. These are not people whom you can just give any kind of work to do, and so that complicates the problem of unemployment because the jobs and the opportunities that are being created are not suitable for these people who are graduating, who are leaving institutions of learning. And so there's need for thinking of how can we create jobs that are suitable for this group, for us to address unemployment. I mean, definitely that's a great move. It's a great idea. We need to open up our borders. We need to allow not just movement of goods, we need to allow movements of people. We need to, ensure that we trade amongst ourselves. Intra-trade in Africa is just about, it's less than 20%. And we are trading more with countries in Europe, with the United States, with countries in Asia, more than we are trading amongst ourselves. And you know how expensive that is. You know how burdensome that is. And so it is very important that African countries open up their boundaries, open up their borders, and allow countries to trade with each other. Africa, 54 states, this is a large economy.
All right.
But we're not utilizing the market that we have here. We're looking for market elsewhere, yet we have market here. And so that's a good move. It's unfortunate that it's taking time for African countries to adopt and to pick it up. So far, there just a few countries that have signed up to that. Yet this is such an important opportunity that can create markets, because what is happening also is that we are pushing, for example, young people to get into entrepreneurship.
Right.
We are pushing young people to start enterprises.
Yes.
But where are the markets for the products that they're coming up with? Where are the markets for their services? And so unless we create markets for services and goods that young people are innovating,
right,
that young people are coming up with,
yes,
it doesn't make sense to ask them to come up with innovative ideas, because where are they taking them? Where are these products going? And so I think the idea of trying to, open up our borders will really be helpful, because it will create market for goods, services, and it will create markets for whatever young people are innovating.
What is in store for the youth and the blue economy?
I mean, first of all, the reason why we decided as the Youth Congress to champion the youth and blue economy,
right,
is because we realized that the conversation about the blue economy was leaving out a critical group, which is the youth.
All right.
Youth were being left behind. And youth were not featuring in the discussion. Youth were not at the table, and they say if you're not at the decision-making table, you'll be on the menu.
All right.
We missed out on the land resources. Young people must refuse to miss out on resources in the ocean and lakes, and offshores, We need to make sure that we are part of the conversation, discussion, negotiations, where people are discussing of how can we benefit from this blue economy. Because the blue economy, portends huge economic potential for countries, and especially African countries. It provides possibilities and opportunities for job creation. It provides governments with opportunities to, get new revenue. Most importantly, it's providing new opportunities for entrepreneurship. And remember, young people are the largest group of unemployed people.
Right.
So if blue economy has the potential of addressing joblessness. Young people cannot sit at the corner and wait for someone else to discuss something that is going to address their problem. They need to be in the room and make sure that they are not being left out.
Okay.
So that is one. But two, blue economy is not just about, youth should not just be involved in blue economy to address their problems.
Okay.
But it must also be about what are they bringing? What value are they adding? I think young people have immense potential, you know, their creativity, their energies, their innovativeness, their abilities and capabilities is what we need to grow the blue economy. And so my argument has been there is no blue future, there is no blue economy without meaningful involvement of the youth. To governments,
right.
First they must know that you know, Africa is the youngest continent. We have the most youthful demographic in the world.
Right.
And true, if that is the largest demographic, then they must be involved in each and every sphere. Development, decision making, you know, policy making, governance. You know, we must make sure that youth are there. When we discuss our economy, we must make sure that youth are there. I have said, and I want to reiterate that, you know, Africa is youth because of the largest population of this continent are youth, and we cannot leave youth behind.
Right.
Every time we leave youth behind, remember we are leaving Africa behind. Right. And so we must carry along our youth with us. We talk about Africa rising. Africa cannot rise without its people rising. So we must also make sure that Africa, yes, is rising, but Africans are also rising, and those Africans are not other people. Those Africans are actually the youth. So we must make sure that the African youth are also rising in terms of their consciousness, rising in terms of their capabilities, rising in terms of their abilities, but most importantly, rising in terms of the quality of their lives.